Yeah. 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 I had to give y'all 3 this time. I had to give y'all 3 because I'm super duper hyped. What is going on, everybody? I'm your host, Rob, back with another episode of From My Experience podcast. And I am super hyped. I'm super excited because we have a super duper special guest. I'll get to that in a second. Shout out to you, our listeners. Those of you who like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the continued support. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the emails. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't forget, you can support the show by shopping with our affiliates. There's a Linktree link in the description. We have Garner's Garden, we have Acre Gold, we have Jot Forms, and we have Black Water. Who am I forgetting? Click the Linktree link. We have so many that I can't even keep up with all of them. So click the Linktree link. Check out our affiliates. Oh, Acre Gold. I don't think I said them. But check out our affiliates. Shop with them. We'll get a little bit of a kickback, and it will help us move the show forward. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I got to try to keep my emotions in check. This is a very special guest who played a pivotal role in me transitioning from college to the adult world. So, when I was getting ready, I was doing my last semester of college after I finally passed all of the praxis exams. All of my educators out there, I know I just said the P word. I apologize. Man, and I got assigned a teacher. You know, I was a student teacher, and I got assigned to a teacher. And when I say I was at one of the lowest points of my life, I was broke. I was dusty. I ain't have no car. Like, I didn't know how I was going to make it through this semester. But this brother, when we met, we hit it off. He used to come pick me up and bring me to school so I could get my stuff done. He poured into me. We formed a bond, a friendship. I ran into him after I started teaching in Somerville, and I got fat, and he was like, getting kind of big there. It was like the conversation just continued, and I remembered it, and it felt good to be able to see him and greet him and thank him for everything that he taught me, because it's like, yo, I'm here now, I'm doing it. And he has been doing amazing things. He also has his own podcast that he does with a good friend of his. But we're going to get into that in the interview. But, you know, on this show, you know, me and Jessica always talk about finding, you know, mentors. And he is one of my mentors. He taught me a lot. And one of the things, I think one of the most important things I learned is to be yourself in the classroom. Just be your normal, goofy, doofy self. Don't be some stiff robot in the classroom. Be yourself, and your kids will respect that, and they'll love you for it. And it has carried me throughout my career in education. So I want to thank him for that. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have the CEO and founder of the craigkinggroup and the director of teacher leadership at the Palmetto State Teachers Association, Mr. Craig King. Woo!
I had to give you 3 back. Rob, my brother, let me tell you, when you reached out to me to come, initially I started laughing because I was like, are we going to be able to get through like this podcast without laughing the entire time? Like 40% of the podcast is going to be us laughing.
It is, man. There were just so many moments.
Oh, so many. And you hit the nail on the head with your introduction, because what's crazy is I didn't know you were at a low point until later.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know you like that. I wasn't going to tell you my business.
Yeah. Like, hey, bro, I'm in a bad place.
I'm hungry. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Can you pick me up? What?
You got gas money? No. And this one, gas was cheap, y'all. Like $1 and some change. It was bad.
Oh, man. Everything worked out the way it was supposed to, though, man. Because you almost weren't in my class.
Yeah, I was with another teacher. I think they had me. It was too low of a grade level. I think they had me in a first grade.
No, you were high. You were in like a fourth or fifth grade classroom, I thought.
No, it was a lower level class.
Oh, okay.
And then they realized I was elementary and I was supposed to be 2nd through 6th.
That's right.
And it's like, y'all didn't see this other black man and the black man in here? Y'all should have automatically put us together.
Yeah, because you were my second student teacher.
Oh, yeah,
were you my first? Were you my first?
Nah, you had two.
What year did you graduate?
That's my personal business. No, I finished.
Okay, all right.
I student taught with you in 2009. That was the fall of 2009.
Yeah.
You had another one. I can't remember his name. I remember him though, because he would pop in.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, you're my third one. Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all. There's a lot of inside.
Man, just keep going, bro.
Okay.
Keep going.
What? I don't even know where to begin, man.
I don't know.
Okay,
there's no agenda.
Let's talk about the Craig King group. How did that come about? Actually, wait, stop, hold up. All right. Wait. I'm gonna go in chronological order.
Yeah, let's do that.
You are a 20+ year cancer survivor.
21, May 2nd.
21.
21 years on May 2nd.
21 years. Does that have anything to do with your story when you were 17?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start there, because I think that'll help give people a premise of part of the reason why you do what you do to this day.
Yeah, that sounds good. So when I was 17 years old, I was a senior in high school. Actually, I started noticing a lump on my leg towards the end of my junior year in high school. Fast forward to my senior year, played football, went to state championship, lost. Still cry about that every once in a while.
Oh.
Don't judge me. Played baseball, and the lump on my leg, it kept getting bigger and bigger, larger and larger, and I never got it checked out. And so the summer after I graduated high school, I got diagnosed. I was making my bed up and hit my leg, and it hurt really bad. Mm-hmm. And July of '99, I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, which is a type of bone cancer that is prevalent in like teenagers. Mm-hmm. And so I was supposed to attend state that fall and start my education, but I had to take a year off, and went through about 11 months of extensive chemotherapy, limb salvage surgery. I almost died twice.
What?
From chemical. Yeah. I don't think you ever knew that. I almost died twice because of a chemical reaction I had to one of the chemotherapies, methotrexate. Throat swelled up, temperature spiked to like 104. Like, in movies where you see their lives flash before their eyes, right? That actually happened to me. Like, I could say that's a real thing. And like, I saw images from my childhood up until that point just kind of flashed before my eyes. And so, I beat cancer. My last drop of chemotherapy was May 2nd of 2000, and I've been a survivor ever since. And so that experience, coupled with some other experiences that I just had in my family, drove me to becoming a teacher and drove me to all of the philanthropic things that I do now, the work that I do, the work that I believe in, the work that matters to me, not just in education, but that was kind of the pivotal moment that kind of catapulted me. I know cancer is serious. Yeah. I know that it kills people. Mm-hmm. I know that I could have easily been one of those people. And Rob, you would have never met Craig.
Yeah.
Like, how sad would that be if you never met me?
Yeah, it would have been pretty messed up.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So, but I realized that, and I know that to be true for anybody that I meet that would not have known me, prior. And so I take that as a huge responsibility to like not rest on my laurels and say, oh, I beat cancer and just kind of let's live a normal life. No, there's a reason why I was here, and that reason is to help other people.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, that's kind of the abbreviated version of that experience at age 17 that kind of propelled me.
Man, I didn't know that, man. I knew parts of that story, but I didn't know that you almost died twice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will say this. You are definitely doing an excellent job of fulfilling your purpose. I am a product of that. I will definitely always claim that and let you know to this day that, man, the stuff that I learned from you about just educating and just working with kids and being a professional and always putting your best foot forward has been priceless. It's what I get complimented on the most in every observation. It's the same. There's like, oh, your kids love you. You're so funny. Your class is fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should have seen me back
Yeah.
in the day.
Yeah. Oh man. Like you I think one thing that me and you, we don't talk about enough, and I'll say the same with my previous student teachers or anybody that did work in my classroom, is that those kids that we had in that semester, they had 2 black male teachers who loved what they were doing.
Yeah.
And showed up for them every day.
Yeah.
Like we don't think about that. Like not just one, but they had 2 of us.
Had 2.
That told them that we loved them, that, like you said, it was silly, funny, had structure, didn't tolerate mess now.
Listen, y'all, Mr. King, I keep calling him Mr. King. He used to pull them kids in that corner. Give them that swearing talking to.
Yeah. And so, but they knew that, that both of us, we loved them. But we had those conversations that came from a place of love, right? And not to tear them down, but to let them know, hey, this is the expectation. Yep. Like if you want to survive and if you want to thrive in this world, you have to abide by certain expectations in the classroom. But at the same time, I know that you're a kid.
Yeah.
Like for me to expect for you to sit in a desk for 8 hours in a day, 7-8 hours a day, and just listen to me talk about some subject matter content that you really don't care about. Let's just put the cards on the table. Look. That's true. I know they're not gonna see this, but I'm actually putting the cards on the table. This is something I tell teachers all the time, especially in my role now. As soon as you get out of your feelings about kids not being passionate and caring about the content that you teach, but they care more about the way in which you teach that content, you will, see tremendous gains in their academic performance and their desire to want to be in your classroom and their desire to want to apply that knowledge you give them. They don't care about rocks. They don't care about dirt unless they get to playing it.
That's true. And like another, just to add on to what you said, one of the things I definitely picked up too was whenever I got ready to teach a new concept or teach something, I showed them how it related to their life. This is why you need to know this. This is why this is important. This is why this is relevant. This is why I'm up here. But I also had to design ways to make sure I made it fun and entertaining so that I could have their attention long enough to make sure that I taught them what they needed to know. I can't say everything I want to say because people gonna be like, you did what? But when I look at things, I'm like, this all they need to know? Okay, so some things I put to the side, because I'm just like, come on, I got this amount of time to teach them. This is what they need to know. I can get them there by doing 1, 2, and 3. I don't need to do 1 through 15, even though it may be printed somewhere and it's highly and heavily suggested that I do so. But it's like, if you're not in there with them, it's unrealistic. You got to be in there with me to see these kids and see their levels and see our relationship to know that, hey, I know that this is going to work for him. I know that this will work for these 5 over there, these 10 over here. This will work for them. But only I know that because I'm with them all the time.
Yeah, and guess what? Here's a little secret for the people out there. Teachers are professionals. They know what they do. I am your conscience. Here's a novel concept. Teachers are professionals, so they may know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So, and that was the beauty of being at Whitaker under the leadership of Dr. Hicks.
Yes.
The late, great Dr. Betty Hicks, who I miss every day, who gave me my first job.
Yes, Dr. Hicks.
I remember I brought Filming Friday, which you probably remember when we used to do Filming Friday. And I came to her, and she allowed me to use that as a type of assessment, not just a paper and pencil, but she gave me the autonomy in my classroom to say, hey, Craig, this is what's working with your students. You go for it and you do it. and not just, okay, this is printed in the paper. This is exactly how you need to do it. Like you were just saying, you know, teachers are professionals, right?
Yeah.
So if they say in their professional opinion that this is going to work best for these students that I see every day that I have relationships with, give me the autonomy to do that.
Yes.
And here's the get on my soapbox. I'm going to put the cards back on the table. The results that are expected, whether it's a grade or application or knowledge or increase in knowledge, may not be seen in those 180 calendar days.
Facts.
That's another thing I realized, Rob. Like, if now being, you know, almost 10 years removed from leaving the classroom, seeing my students now productive, some of those students that struggled being very productive, being Marines, being law enforcement, being scientists, graduating from, like, you know, and just seeing them grow and being great, you know, citizens and stuff. So it's just like that is what I wanted. That was the ultimate goal. And I think the way I approached it, which, you know, you have adopted and you use it with your students, is the way that it should be.
Yeah. Like what you're saying, man, it's warming my heart, man. I'm thinking about, because I'm at the age now, my first class, they should be sophomores in college, and I saw a few of them before I moved from South Carolina, and they ran up to me and they were telling, and I taught them in 5th grade. They were about to graduate high school. I taught them in 5th grade, and they're telling me how they remember my class and the jokes and the stuff I used to tell them and how they didn't understand it back then. But now they're like, oh, yeah, I see what you mean. I don't like working this job, but I need to make money so I can blah, blah, blah. They're like, you were teaching us all this adult stuff, and we didn't really get it. But now we see it. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, one of them was like, she told me she was going to the Air Force because she remembered me saying, you know, college is for some people, but there are other things that you can do with your life. Like, everyone isn't meant to go to college. Everyone can't even afford to go to college. But if you're not going to do that, at least have a plan ahead of time to say, okay, what am I going to do when I finish high school? So what you're saying is 1,000% accurate, man. It felt so good to see that and hear that. I'm friends with some of the parents of the kids that I taught, and I see some of them going to colleges now, and I'm just like, getting dusty and old.
Yeah, we are getting dusty and old.
Speak for yourself. So, okay, what led to your transition out of the classroom?
Man, that's a great question, Rob, and I get it a lot. I haven't gotten it recently, probably because we were in a pandemic. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, everybody's been working from home, and you're not interacting with people. So my last year teaching, you were with me in 2009. I had just finished being district teacher of the year, I think, when you came to my classroom. Because I was district teacher of the year in 07, 08. I just had you. And so I started being asked to be on all these committees and just so many different things outside of the classroom that was taking me out of the classroom. And so in my mind, I was going to teach for 30 years. 3rd grade, retire, right off into the sunset. My last year teaching, my kids suffered because of my professional growth. And that's something a lot of teachers don't want to admit, but I know the single most important factor of a student succeeding is that teacher in that classroom. Regardless of what they have going on at home, in the community, that teacher is still the number one factor of that child succeeding. And I took a lot of pride and pressure and responsibility knowing that. And so that last year when I used to have to go several conferences for add-on certifications and all these different things, and when you leave your class, if you're a teacher and you leave your classroom and you tell your kids are going to be out and they cry because you're going to leave, then you know you're making an impact. I mean, when I said, hey, I'm leaving, they're going to have a sub, and back in the day, I remember, you know, like, what? Sub?
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Yeah, used to be happy.
You know? Yeah, and so the job I currently have and where I work now, Rob, I was offered this job 3 times before I took it.
Woo.
I got offered the job, let me say 2011. So the first time I got offered was probably in 2009, maybe. The executive director now, she asked me at a conference in Rock Hill. I'll never forget, at Southside, I think it's South Point High School in Rock Hill. She said, Craig, really want you to come on my staff. I had just finished being district teacher of the year. I was like, Kathy, nah, I'm going to teach for the rest of my life. I'm good. Second year, same thing. Nope, I'm good. Third year, nope, I'm good. And then maybe that December when she was working on the budget, I was thinking about that year, and I was thinking about how, and this got out of the truth because the flexibility and everything was offered 3 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
Like the flexibility schedule, like a lot of people looked at me and said, why didn't you take it your first year? Because I was actually operating in what I felt was my gift, right? But to answer your question, I considered and I eventually left because I didn't want to pigeon my professional career that was actually going to impact more students outside of my current classroom. Like I was leaving to be a statewide advocate for all students and teachers in South Carolina, and so that was probably the most difficult professional and almost personal decision I ever had to make, because I left because my kids were being shortchanged. They did not have a consistent teacher in that classroom. Because otherwise, I would have still been there probably in that room 61 at Whitaker. You know, I mean, I probably would have still been right there doing drill teams, being a drill team advisor, you know, and all that stuff, man. But that's the God honest truth of why I left, man. Because if it was about more money or more flexible schedule, I would have left 3 years prior.
Yeah.
I would have been gone.
Man, we just made another connection. Wow. I did the same thing. When I resigned from teaching to do real estate full time, that was the reason. I started doing real estate and my kids just weren't getting enough of me. And I wasn't 100% fulfilled, and I recognized it, and I was like, I need to choose because it's not fair to them. Yep. So I made the choice. And I tried it for a while, and now I'm back.
It's all right, and it's all right.
The question I have for you, so during that transition, what were you going through mentally? What were some of your thoughts and like innermost thoughts and feelings about the situation? Because I know how difficult that was. Because like when I resigned, the principal at the time, she was the Title I facilitator when I got to the school. She was my mentor. I watched her become a vice principal and then a principal. So this is someone who was like always there for me from the beginning. And like I almost shed tears in this woman's office, man, because I just remember how much she poured into me and others, and all she wanted was the best for me. And I was just like, and I was like, if I ever come back in South Carolina and teach, I was like, I want to teach for you. Like that was tough.
Yeah, it was. Before I answer your question about kind of you want to know kind of where my mental space was, kind of things So let's rewind back to the day before the last day of 2011. So up until that day, I had not told my students I was leaving.
Oh.
Part of me didn't want to tell them, and then part of me convinced myself it's no big deal. Like they're going to the fourth grade. It's not that big of a deal. So the day before the last day, one of my parents, Miss Sweeper, was in the classroom. And the kids were just talking about, oh, Mr. King, when I come back to school, I'm going to come by your classroom and see you on the first day of school next year. And Miss Sweeper, I remember it like it was yesterday. Miss Sweeper kind of cut-eyed at me. She was like, Mr. King, you need to tell him. Because she knew, because she was a staple in my classroom, and she knew what was going on. She hadn't told her daughter yet. She was like, Mr. King, you need to tell them before tomorrow, the last day, you need to tell them today. And so before the bell rang, I sat down and had a conversation. I told him, bruh, when I tell you it was not a dry face in that room, every kid ran out boo-boo crying. Like, I got so many calls from parents like, what? They say you leaving? What's going on with King? And so that right there just kind of opened my eyes, because sometimes, I knew that I was making an impact. I knew that. Yeah. But I didn't know the magnitude of it. Yeah. I didn't realize the magnitude of it. So mentally, I started second guessing my decision to leave. I started saying, well, maybe I should stay. Maybe, I can make it work. I can try to get some flexible time and to be able to do the things I want to still do professionally and things like that. But mentally, I thought I was in a good place. And then I started second guessing myself. am I ready to be a statewide advocate for teachers and students? Like, am I ready to take on that responsibility? And the answer was yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I did, to answer your question, I had some moments where I was like, am I good enough to do this? Or am I qualified to do it? Even though I had that previous background in advocacy because of my cancer experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did some advocacy on the state and national level before I did this. But yeah, it was tough, bro. It was tough, but then I realized kind of what I was doing, and I got realigned, and I was still able to go back in the classroom and do things like here in the Columbia area. Kept in contact with my students.
Yeah.
That was big. Like, I had my personal rule of I'm not adding you on Facebook or any social media until you graduate from high school. The thing is, I wouldn't consider it.
Yeah.
So some students I haven't added because
I got a couple.
I just say I can't add you. I just kind of skimmed the pro. I was like, nah, I can't do that.
I got a few I got the unexpected ones. Like I have the one. But
I will. But all of them, if I saw them, they will get my undivided attention. And the beauty of each class, I don't know if you remember this. Each class, they always have a way to contact me.
Yeah.
I remember the last day of school, each of them got a class picture, and on the back of that picture, I put my parents' mailing address and an email address I've had since high school.
Yeah.
That's full of spam right now, probably, but it's still active, and I still check. And I've had some students actually email me, and a couple that have sent me letters and stuff. So they always know how to contact me. Just social media. I'm just cautious with social media.
You gotta be, man. And ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are listening, I want y'all to really take in what we're talking about. This is the side of teaching that y'all really don't get to see, especially from a male perspective. We're affected too. Like, I remember after I resigned, like, my coworkers were calling me that next school year because I taught 5th grade. They were telling me how kids were crying at registration because they're like, "Where's Mr. Wilson? I was looking forward to being in his class." Like, kids, these are kids I did not know, y'all. These are kids like 4th graders I did not really have a relationship. I might have said hi in the hallway. Like, my reputation was just like that throughout the school, and I felt bad. I was like, dang, like, it was a little easier for me because I taught 5th grade. Y'all going to middle school. Some of my middle schoolers were still, they didn't think I was really resigning. They would come back to the elementary school and say, "Where's Mr. Wilson?" They would walk their siblings to class and think I'd still be there. And it pulls on the heartstrings. It makes you feel guilty, and it will make you question, am I supposed to be doing this, man? I'm just feeling the way thinking about it, man, and just thinking about those kids and those little faces, and just wow.
Yeah. So that was a transition that I'm glad I made. It was difficult to make, because I spent the next 8-9 years doing the advocacy for teachers and students, which was a challenge in itself. Just the political side of it and the snail pace of getting teachers what they deserve and getting students what they deserve. It's like a snail, and it's like a snail race, bro. It really is. Literally watching the snails.
I wish I could. I know, because I'm in education, so I definitely know. But where I'm at now, things are moving a bit faster.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you had to go up north. Yeah. But no thing, and so I also realized when it was time for me to transition, I was able to go to my boss and say, "Hey, I want to do something different," and it worked out where somebody else came on and did the advocacy work, and now transitioned to director of teacher leadership, where I work more directly with teachers, especially younger teachers in college and 1st and 2nd year teachers, leading professional learning, mentoring. That's another thing so this job that I currently have, I'm able to make it my own.
Nice.
And one thing I've incorporated is mentoring guys that look like you and me. Intentionally doing that. So one of my mentees is a senior at Francis Marion, teaching fellow, African American male, student teaching in middle school right now. And the thing about mentoring, and I said this on a podcast recently, another podcast of a friend that I went to state with. Mentoring was something I realized that this is gonna sound crazy when I say it, Rob. When someone asks you to be a mentor to them or to a group of boys or whoever, it's okay to say no.
Right.
And let me explain that. Because you can do so much damage if you start mentoring somebody and you stop.
Yes.
Like they're better off if you don't even start, especially when that attachment comes. Because like I'm confident in who I am now, being 39, almost 40.
Ew.
Where I know the value I bring to mentoring someone. And that's not to say I'm overconfident. It's just I'm confident in my lived experiences, my education, my knowledge of how things work in education and just leadership and just in life. And so I had an initial call because I got asked to mentor this young man, and he did something that really spoke to what mentorship should be from both sides. And so we had our conversation, and you know how it is when you have a conversation, you say, oh yeah, we're going to stay connected, and you mean it, right?
Yep.
And he was like, let's do this every Tuesday at the same time. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That showed me a few things. It showed me that, one, in that one conversation, he saw the value that I could bring to his life, and he wanted more of it.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But he also put accountability back on me, like, okay, you're initiating this conversation. You must have the time to be a mentor.
Time.
Yeah. And so it's on my calendar. If you see it, every Tuesday at 5:00 on the way home from work or on the way to the gym, I call him and we talk for like 30 minutes. And, you know, sometimes life happens.
Yeah.
And we can't talk, and we'll text each other, hey, I can't talk. Let's catch up next week. But it's on my calendar every week. Repeat it.
Man.
And so
that's a gem.
Yeah, it is.
Y'all need to write that down. That's something I need to take on, because that's something I feel like now at the school that I'm at now, I have more kids that look like me. Very mixed bag. I love it. And I feel like I'm going to be pulled in the direction of doing some of those things. And that's another reason why I'm tightening up some stuff in my personal life and taking stuff off my plate, because I do want to make room for them, because I know how impactful it was for me growing up. So I'm just like, a conversation or just having someone in your corner, especially as a young black man in this country, can change your entire life. The trajectory it hits different. Yeah.
Who you telling? And you see it.
Yeah. You see it. And there's nothing like it, y'all. There's nothing like it. Okay. The Craig King Group. Named it after yourself, huh?
Yeah, there's a story behind that, though.
Okay.
That includes Claflin University, believe it or not.
Oh, the Claflin University, Orange County, South Carolina.
And we didn't talk about college, SC State. Go shout out to the Bulldogs. We were neighbors.
We were definitely neighbors. All love.
Yeah, all love for sure. But so Craig King Group, I'm a workpreneur, so shout out to the workpreneurs.
Wait a minute.
No.
What?
You never heard of that before?
No, man. Oh,
you're a workpreneur. So let me tell you, workpreneurs are great because, like, what's the buzzword now? It's not even a buzzword. It's a real thing, like entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're an entrepreneur. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm a workpreneur. I have a 9-to-5. I have an income that comes in every 2 weeks that I know is going to be a certain amount that I'm getting paid. I have a salary job. But I also have a business on the side where I speak, I write books, I do consulting on the side that's not affiliated with my job, right? And so I'm a workpreneur, and it's okay. Like, I want to shout out to everybody out there. I know there's, a push. If you feel entrepreneurship is in your calling and you need to leave your job, go for it. But if you also feel like you like the stability of having a 9-to-5, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing.
There's nothing wrong with that. And you feel like you have the time and the energy to devote to you being an entrepreneur outside of that too. I call it workpreneur. I didn't create that. I heard it somewhere and I figured out what it was.
Makes sense.
I'm a workpreneur. So Craig King Group officially launched in 2015. And so the reason why I chose Craig King Group is still me currently. But this is laughing, man.
I got one person in the group.
Well, let me tell you the vision. See, you laughing at, and guys, Rob, let me tell you, let me understand the relationship. Look.
The Craig King group, but it's still just me.
Yeah. So, y'all,
I feel you.
in other circles, that laugh would be called bullying. But you gotta understand me and Rob's relationship. You gotta understand the relationship. He is not bullying me right now, but he is laughing at me.
I am.
So let me tell you why the name Craig King Group came about. So 2004, I was a senior at state, but I attended a conference at Claflin University where renowned speaker and educator Stephen Peters, who his wife, I don't know if his wife still works there or not, but was a professor at state at Claflin. I'm sorry, but Stephen Peters was a speaker there, and he had a conference called a session. And he talked about capture, inspire, then teaching students. And that kind of became my philosophy of education. Fast forward to me stalking this guy, literally seeing everything that he's done in education. And I saw where he had his own business, but he also had the Stephen Peters group. And when you looked at the group of people, it was other individuals across the country that also had their own thing going. But then he also had partnerships with them where if he came to their city or did whatever, if there was an expertise that he wasn't fully versed on, they were part of his circle or his group. And so I was like, that's really cool. Like, what if, so what if like someone contacted me, and I have this in an abstract form, Rob, because I've gotten contacts just recently. I got asked to speak at a conference that was tailored for like pre-K through like first grade teachers. And that wasn't really my scope. Right? I could have did it and got paid for it. Like I could have came up with something.
Yeah.
I'm being real.
Yeah.
I'm being real. But I'm like, how do I support the network of people that I'm already affiliated with? Hey, Kobie deals with that genre, right? Used to be a kindergarten teacher. Or somebody else, I'm going to pass that on to them.
Nice.
So in the abstract form, I do have more than one person. It's just not like formulated like on my website. But that's where I got the idea of the Craig King Group, because yes, it's my baby and these are the things that I can offer. But if someone comes to me and I can't offer that, here's a select few of individuals that I'm connected with that you can book. And so that's kind of where the name came from. And I really just wanted to formalize the business part of it. And so I got hip to the money that's in education in 2010. So in 2009, there's another story. I'm gonna get you there to the Craig King Group. Okay, I'm gonna get you there.
I'm at the edge of my seat. I'm loving this.
In 2009, I was in the Dominican Republic on vacation. So the summer after you graduated,
you needed a break.
Yeah. I didn't think about it that way. Yeah, Rob was a pain. But that April, was it spring break? It had to have been spring break. So you weren't done yet. It was spring break. Anyway, we went to the Dominican Republic. I'm sitting by the pool. Me and my best friend and I, we're sitting by the pool, and we see this other couple, another black couple, having just a regular conversation. Hey, where y'all from? Where you from? I'm like, I'm from South Carolina. And I'm like, oh, the lady, Deb Brown. She's like, I'm from South Carolina. She was like, I'm from Utahville.
Ooh.
She was like, you probably don't know where that is. I'm like, I'm from Manning. I know exactly where Utahville is.
Yeah.
I went to South Carolina State. She's like, oh, I went to South Carolina State. My husband went there too. Long story short, she is over professional development for ASCD.
Oh.
Yes. The ASCD.
Oh.
The. And so she was like, do y'all do any presenting? And at the time, I'm a third grade teacher, as you know. And I was like, I presented some stuff in district, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, why don't you send me a proposal for our upcoming conference in Chicago, Illinois on October 28th through the 31st, I think was the date, 2010. And I'm like, sure. So I submit the proposal, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
It gets accepted.
Mm-hmm.
She gives me a primetime slot on a Sunday morning for 3 hours to present, drum roll, Filming Friday.
Oh, wow.
So something that I learned from Mr. Moss, one of my first student teacher, is something that was accepted. And she told me something, Rob. She was like, Craig, I'm taking a chance on you. Most of the people that we have have books, are doctors, have extensive education. They don't have just 4 or 5 years teaching.
Yeah.
So I'm taking a chance on you. So prior to even going to Chicago, my name is now affiliated with ASCD because they upload my bio, my picture. So let's go to Beaufort, South Carolina.
Beaufort?
You following me?
Yeah.
Beaufort. So Nakia Campbell, who I give credit to, her and Deb Brown, give them a lot of credit to launching my consulting and realizing that I have voice that people wanted to pay for, right? Not just give me a box lunch.
Yeah.
That's what they gonna do.
Yo, we gotta stop working. Y'all gotta stop working for food eventually.
You gotta stop. And I'm not judging you because that was me. Hey, Craig, can you come speak at this place? And not affiliated with my work. Just can you come speak and do whatever? Yeah, thanks for coming. Here's a box lunch, or here's a gift card, a $15 McDonald's gift card, or whatever.
Yeah. Didn't
realize what my value was. So go to Nakia Campbell, who's over the Summer Institute, where it's 3 days for Berkeley. Am I saying Beaufort? Yes, Beaufort. Summer Institute for Beaufort County. They pay teachers to come. It's 3 days. They invite 3 keynote speakers. It's always a superintendent. And then that year was the national principal of the year from Maryland. Forgot his name.
Wow.
And they needed a 3rd speaker. She was like, Craig, I've never heard it. I remember she called me. I remember I was outside my apartment in Orangeburg paying $400 a month. $400 a month.
Wait a minute, stop the interview. Stop the
No, they can't stop.
He just put y'all in the time capsule. He
put
y'all in the time capsule. Rent,
Are you acting brand new?
Honey.
Are you acting brand new?
No, I'm not acting brand new. Listen, you know I was in the trailer park, okay? My rent was $450 with a roommate. Hello, we split that thing right down the middle.
Yeah, I remember picking you up. I was like, oh, you in here? I'm joking, man. I'm joking.
No, you probably did. It was sketch.
No.
We got burglarized after I graduated and started teaching. Go ahead.
But
go ahead. You paid
crazy, man.
400 rent, man. Yeah, those times are gone, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
She called me, and it's gonna get to Craig King Group, I promise.
Yeah, you good?
She said, Craig, I've never heard of you, but I see that you're in South Carolina and you're a teacher, but you're affiliated with ASCD, so you must know what you're talking about.
Nice.
And I'm like, yeah. So what do you need? Look, I know nothing about consulting fees, none of that. And so she proceeds to say, we have a Summer Teacher Institute. We want you to speak to our 600 teachers for 45 minutes. And I want you to do 2 breakout sessions afterwards. She was like, what's your consulting fee? Rob, I know nothing about consulting fees. I just booked this, to go speak in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
They just pay your flight and your room. Like your first time going, they're not going to pay you because they want to see if you're good or not.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting paid for Chicago. They're just flying me up there, paying for my room and board, paying for my meals. So I'm not getting a check.
Yeah.
So I still know nothing about consulting and fees. And she was like, what's your consulting fee? What did I say, Rob? Take a guess.
400?
I wish.
What?
Go lower.
200?
Go lower, Rob.
You ain't say $100.
I said $100. I said $100. I knew no better.
True.
I didn't factor in like driving down there, getting a hotel room. I didn't factor any of that in.
Yeah.
And so she said, Craig, and she gave me this after she stopped laughing. After she stopped
you said
laughing.
$100 and she busted out laughing?
Oh yeah, she was laughing. She was laughing.
Yeah, I'm a quick pause. Those of you, especially if you're younger listening to this, take some time just coming from us, because I did the same thing when I was DJing. I didn't know what to charge people. I'm charging people $50, but I'm DJing for 4 hours. You have to stop and calculate, and you can't be pick a number. Think about what your time is worth. Yeah, figure out what your value is and stick to your number, man. Stick to your number. But it happens. It happens. I'm with you.
It happens. And there's no embarrassment in me sharing that story. There's no embarrassment in me sharing that story.
Yeah.
And so after she stopped laughing, she was like, Craig, I can tell you don't know. You're new to this space. And I said, I am. I don't know. I said, I don't know. And she said, at a minimum, for coming to speak, at a minimum, you should charge us $1,800 at a minimum. And at a minimum, but I can't tell you that. You have to tell me what your fee is. Mm-hmm. And she hit me to like the game, because I would have went down there and spent $100 or got paid $100 to blow these teachers away, which is what I did. I went down there and I did what I did. I talked about our classroom. Yeah. You didn't get a check, but it was nice. But no, I'm like, seriously, I went down there. I killed it, man. I killed my breakout sessions. They gave me a check, and I just looked at it, and I was just like, so this school district really gave me this check for something that they saw value in, and then I finally value myself.
Right.
So fast forward to and that happened after, let me see, that happened that following summer. Yeah, so that following summer, that in 2010 is when I did Summer Institute. I got booked for Chicago that following October, the thing that was on the website. Mm-hmm. And I remember flying to Chicago, talked about Summer Friday, 3 hours. And I did so well that Deb and ASCD asked me back multiple times. I ended up presenting at ASCD in National Harbor, Maryland, St. Louis, and and then DC and New Orleans. I think it was New Orleans, but I can't remember the third city right now. But anyway, I started seeing the value of what I brought and saw that I needed to place a value on it.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I still struggle with that sometimes now. Being being a workpreneur, right?
I'm gonna have a conversation with you about that off air because I have to. Yeah, go ahead.
Because there are people, and I found now, Rob, where now it's not just education, because I've dived deep into leadership and customer service, where I've done leadership training for a bank. I've done leadership training for Chick-fil-A.
Free Chick-fil-A for life?
No.
Oh, sorry.
They paid me, cut me a check. And another thing that recently happened to me, and I can't give the details yet because it's not final, but someone who I respected my entire life, who has a consulting firm, recently reached out to me for me to be a part-time consultant for his agency.
Oh, wow.
And I actually observed him and some of his business partners doing work recently on a call. And so, like I said, it's not final yet, but he reached out to me. And so now, not only am I believing in the value I bring, other people are seeing the value that I can bring from afar.
Yep.
So what are people saying about you? So obviously somebody is saying something about me when I'm not even around, and he's seeing the work that I'm doing from afar, saying, hey, Craig has great communication skills. He's an educator. Educators, like, we can do anything.
Yes.
That's why so many industries want educators, because we know how to multitask, we know how to plan, we know how to execute, we know how to think on our feet.
Organize.
We're data. Organized. Now, if you looked at my classroom, you might not have thought I was organized. Rob would tell you that. It wasn't the most organized class. Yeah, it was a little dirty sometimes. So the craigkinggroup kind of formulated out of that, and I wanted to formalize it, and so that's kind of where it came from.
Wow, man.
That was probably a 30-minute answer.
No, it was needed though. You actually just helped me on a very personal level. I got asked to shout out to Dr. Ashley Dash. She helped me get my resume together, and I transitioned up here, and she started National Black Man Day, and she had a conference for it last year. And I facilitated a couple sessions, and she came back to me so I could do this year as well as a virtual conference. I'm gonna send you the information because I saw the way your face lit up. She'll be back on the podcast again. I think in June or July, but she was on earlier this year. But that was something that kind of like you. It was when she asked me, I was like, "Well, what?" She was like, "I listened to your podcast. Like I did She was like, when I interviewed with you, I was like, yep, that's one of the voices I want." And she was like, "Have you ever thought about doing more speaking engagements?" And I was like, no. But when I thought about it, I was like, bro, you record 2-3 podcasts a week. That's all you're doing. You're speaking to people. You're sharing your experiences. Yep. You're giving people an opportunity to express themselves in a comfortable environment. I'm like, I'm good at this. So now I got to figure out the other side of things. I'm not going to ask for $100. Let me tell y'all that.
No. I was young. It was 2009. I ain't know that.
But he said after she stopped laughing, I can't get over that.
But think about how many people I'm helping. Not just because I've shared that story honestly with a lot of people, and I know it's helped people.
Yeah.
I had no idea, and I was like, Nakia, I don't know, and to this day, if Nakia Campbell calls me, I'm picking up the phone, and whatever she needs, she got it.
Yep.
Deb Parks Brown, same thing. She's retired from ASCD now, but if she needs something, she can call me and she got it. Nancy Ford, who gave me my first membership in Orangeburg, she was working for the district down there, who gave me my first membership to ASCD, didn't even know what she was kind of sewing into. Later, I'm picking up the phone. Like certain people that have poured into me, I'm picking up the phone. And if it's not like, if I can do it, it's like I'm doing it.
Right.
Unless it's just impossible now. I can't do it. But
you mentioned pouring into people, man. That's the other thing, man. When you're in position and you see someone coming up, and they tell you, I don't know, I'm unsure, put them on game. Teach them. That is how they become better. That is how they grow, and that's how you develop a real relationship. So we can pass that information down to the next person and the next person. Because now what you went through is helping me, because I feel like that's the space I'm going to enter into soon. And I'm like, I need to figure some of this out. Real estate taught me some things, but that's different because you can actually see what I'm doing, and then there's a fee and all this other stuff. But like, this is different. It's like there's no blueprint. There's no blueprint for, hey, this is how you value a speech from you. There's no blueprint for it. And then you're afraid of rejection because like, oh, am I asking too much? Am I asking for not enough? I don't want them to say no because this is extra money I wasn't thinking about. There's so many things that go through your head. And then just wanting the experience sometimes too. Because Charlemagne the God says every opportunity isn't attached to a paycheck, which is true. Yeah. But if you can get paid, get paid.
A recent contract that I just secured, I remember when they reached out to me about the opportunity, and Kobie has been instrumental in my thought process because he's a full-time entrepreneur. This guy is like heavy, like Kobie, and I'm honored to be doing a podcast with him. And I told him kind of about the opportunity, and I told him what I was thinking about doing. He was like, "Do it," because like the thing was so far-fetched. Like what I was asking, it was just so far-fetched. He was like, "All they can do is say no."
Yeah.
And then they can come with a counter, and if you feel like that counter is worth your value, you can say, guess what? You can say yes. Or you can say no.
Mm-hmm.
And so the far-fetched thing, and it's not even far-fetched, it was my value, right? Like it was a price point that included my book and some other stuff, but it was something that they weren't able to do right now. But then they countered with what they felt like they could do, and I had the option to say yes or no. Then the power is actually always yours.
Yeah.
The power is still always yours, even though you have to jump out of there and throw it out there. They're like, oh, this is great, but this is what we're thinking. This is what we can do right now. And I was like, yeah, I can do it.
Yep.
I can do it. And so, I have another good buddy of mine where he's at the point now where and I'm not at that point yet, but he's at the point now where he has what his cutoff is, like the minimum that he'll take. And if it's like $1 below that, he won't take it. Like, that's powerful, man.
That's extremely powerful.
Like he's like, if it's $1 less than what I want, I'm not. No, this is what my value is right here. This is what I bring. And he'll say, Craig, I'll just pass. I'll say, hey, I can give you the name of some other people that may do it for that, but I know what my value is. And so even if he says no, he got more coming anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not at that point. If you counter and I say, oh, okay, you know, I can do that. But now if it's like nickels and dimes and it's not worth the time,
yeah.
Because now that I'm a family man, I have a wife, I have a daughter.
Yes.
So it's like me preparing, that's going to take time from them. So like, is this worth my time? And if the answer is no, then I'll just say, no, I can't do it.
Yeah. That's profound, man. And I pray that you get to the point where you have your cutoff soon. That's gonna be dope. Let me know what that number is.
$500 million.
Yeah, I need to catch you before that point, man. Craig, we have a lot of other stuff that we have not touched on.
I know.
But I'm trying to be mindful of time. I'm gonna have to part 2 you too, man. I gotta give you a part 2
fine.
For sure, because I know just looking at. Wait, you saying
there's a lot on there? Huh?
You saying gospel choir? Wait.
What do you mean?
You said sang on the gospel choir in college.
You asked something that was interesting that most people didn't know.
Yeah,
what was the question? Wasn't that the question? Like you said?
That was the question.
Most people don't know that. La 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 la.
Oh! I can't take it. I'm crying, y'all. I got one last question for you.
Y'all hear the judgment. Y'all hear the judgment in his voice, right? Y'all see what I have to deal with. That's why I don't talk to him in years. I only can deal with him once every year.
Yo, I'm about to start calling you like 3 times a month.
Yo, we used to talk more often. We gonna do that, man.
We are, man. I was. It's my fault. I'm an introvert and I become a hermit. You're not the only one. There's just the only person I really talk to is my homeboy Carl Van and my mama. Everybody else, I love y'all, but I be in a hole.
No, I get it. I need
to stop doing that. But I need to stop doing that because I can be having conversations like this with you without it being on the podcast, and this could have helped me a year ago. So I need to do better. That's a part of me, personal growth that I need to embrace. Just my time management and managing my relationships. I'm working on that.
All right.
Your greatest influence, you said my parents. Got to give the parents some love before we get out of here. So talk to us about your parents.
Man, so my parents, and what I share about them is not a knock on any other parental unit or anything like that, but like my parents, they're not perfect, obviously. Nobody's perfect, but literally they were the example of everything that I'm living now. They provided some type of blueprint while I was growing up for me to be able to pull from. I'll give you an example. In philanthropy, I saw my mom constantly serving the community, still serving in the community to this day now, back in Clarendon County and Manning. I saw my dad give tirelessly to the community. I saw my dad dedicate 29 years to helping individuals with disabilities and special needs. I saw my dad have so much patience. I saw him show up for every sporting event that I had. You know, he worked 45 minutes away, one way. Like I saw, like, just his ability to just like be sound and even keel and dedicated to the person who was in front of him. And so my dad's nickname was Judge. And so growing up, I just like Judge, everybody called him Judge. And, you know, as I got older, I just kind of saw kind of partly where that name came from. I'm sure it's some wild story that comes with it too. But the part that I really relate to is like, that I see now is people used to always come to my dad for like sound advice. And I never, because you know, as kids, you hear when your parents on the phone gossiping or doing something or talking to somebody. Like people trusted my dad with so much. Mm-hmm. And he held on to all of that. He gave people so much sound advice. And so my mom was a teacher, and they just gave us consistent love, man. Like consistent examples, the things that they were supposed to do. I never heard my parents curse. Like I never saw, abuse. I never saw any of those things that a lot of people experience, and they end up being fine too, right? Because people can overcome circumstances to be great. So those experiences don't define you. But just speaking from my personal experience, I just saw everything that I wanted to have in a marriage with my current wife, Tasia, who is phenomenal, man. Like she is like so amazing. And to have a bonus daughter with our marriage with Sanaya has been the ultimate blessing. So yeah, my parents have just been, for me and my brothers, just the greatest example, man, of what I'm supposed to do. Like anytime I fall short or need to reach back to figure something out, there's something that happened in my childhood or into my adulthood that I can pull from a memory for everything. Like even the craziest things I can't say on camera. Just the crazy things you go through as teenagers.
Yeah.
That I really talked to my dad about that.
Oh man, listen.
like
yeah.
There's some of the stuff you look back because
yeah.
And it goes back to what we were saying about mentorship. It doesn't, that what I got from my dad and what I have from my older brothers now, is that kind of no judgment. Like this is part of being a man, because like if you have this holier than thou judgment complex and don't do that. It's just not, it doesn't work for a lot of people.
It doesn't work for it. Yeah,
and so I look back now, I was like, I talked to my dad about that, and I was just like, okay. And he was there. He's like, yeah, son. Like I had an experience where this happened to me.
Yeah.
And even with my mom, talking to her about different things and being open to her now, especially getting older now, just expressing like times when I'm feeling low and missing dad, and calling my mom and like, I'm having a moment, like I'm out of it, And so, yeah, man, my parents are just, they're the best, man. And so I lost my father 2018, July 5th, 2018. And miss him every day.
Man.
I know you can, yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Before I met you. That was part of my college struggle, man.
Yeah.
All the fathers out there, shout out to y'all, man. Y'all
sure.
have no idea.
No idea, bro.
No idea. I'm over here smiling because I'm thinking about the conversations me and my dad had that I cannot talk about on air. It's how the lessons just hit you as you get older, man. It's
man.
Dang, that's what Dad was talking about when I was 15. Yeah. And I'm 35 now. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm 36. Wait a minute. I'm so old, I don't know how old I am.
Make you laugh. Last year, I thought I was older than what I really was. The entire year, I went thinking I was already 39 last year. And then when my coworkers was like, when were you born? I was like, 1981. She was like, Craig, you're 38. I was like,
yo, it happens, man.
I was like, you just gave me a year of my life. I appreciate that.
Yeah, just gave you a year back, man. Bro.
Yeah.
Craig King.
Man, we just scratched the surface. Like, you got to have me back, bro.
I'm going to have you back, man. I got you on my list to get you scheduled for another episode, man. I needed this. And
this was therapeutic, man.
It is, man. It is. I don't have enough of these adult conversations. And these are the type of conversations that I want to expose people to, man. Like, you should have someone in your life like this guy that you can call, message on Facebook, or when you're in Orangeburg and you see a BMW, you squint your eyes and see if it's him, and then you call.
No, I don't drive BMWs no more. I don't drive BMWs.
Oh, well, I remember the time I called and I was like, his number changed.
No, that's a lie. My number's never changed.
It didn't change?
Always had, no.
Maybe
you
I
dialed
messed
the
up.
wrong number.
That's when I had Singular Wireless. No wonder you're no longer in business. But thank you again for joining us, man. I'm gonna put all of your contact information that you gave me on your intake form in the description. But you want to shout out your social medias and where people can find you?
Yeah. So personal is cqking, business is craigkinggroup, podcast is Craig and Kobie, all the same on Instagram and Twitter. So follow me.
You be using Twitter?
Yeah, I get on Twitter every once in a while. I'm more on it now than what I used to be. When it first came out, I was hitting it up all the time.
What?
I was averaging like 15 tweets a day,
Yeah,
but now
I'm not
I'm
even
just...
gonna get into the Twitter I deleted my old Twitter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us once again. You know you can follow us FME_podcast on Instagram. You can follow me personally at complete spell with a K _vision on Instagram. Jessica's information will also be in the description. Why am I saying that? Because I can't remember how to spell it. It's expose her. That's how you spell it for the Instagram, but it's in the description. Join the Facebook group From My Experience Podcast. Please like the From My Experience Podcast page on Facebook. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves physically, mentally, financially. And since Jessica's not here, I got your back, Jessica, and spiritually. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.